very special good afternoon, good evening, namaskar, pranam, and welcome friends to West Indian Today. I am yours truly, your host and host Imran Ahmad, welcoming you to a special edition of West Indian Today. Now, over the past few months, as many of you know, that we're in a very pivotal and it's a very crucial time as election season's coming right around the corner. Over the past few months, we've encouraged many of our viewers who are not registered to vote to go on out, register to vote, because voting exercises your right of democracy, your freedom of democracy, and the elections are coming up very soon. A few months ago, we were in discussion with a few candidates, running for Senate for District 11, and we were very honored to be in conversation with them. Now, after the primaries, the election is actually going up against its two contenders. Now, on the night of the primaries, for most of you who know that many IDC incumbents, IDC Democrat incumbents, lost their respective seats. One in particular, Senator Tony Avella. Tony Avella, who was, who's currently the senator, but after Election Day, will have to surrender his seat to one of the two candidates. One person we're going to talk about, many of you know his name and know what he's all about, former city controller John Liu. The other, his opponent, his Republican opponent, joins with me on deck today to talk about her agenda if she's elected as the next senator for the district, and what are her plans to revive and change the district and make it more prosperous, bring about enhance the quality of life for all the residents of the district. She joins with me on deck today, Mrs. Vickie Paladino. I want to say welcome to you, and it's a pleasure having you on deck.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's get an idea, let's get a clear vision about you. Now, what brought you into this race, and what are some of the changes that you want to implement against the ideas of Senator Tony Avella?
Well, first of all, I got into this last year in the late summer,
right,
when I went after Mayor de Blasio.
Correct.
For his going to the G20 summit to protest against our country and stand with the anarchists and Antifa and the Communist Party as they burned down Hamburg, Germany.
Correct.
I also went after him for, in that very same, I had manners. I waited till his interview was done, and then I asked him to take a question. So it's not like I attacked him in any way, shape, or form. I was reasonable in the beginning, and then I just let him have it for his not being a mayor that's worth respecting. The police officers don't respect him. He left an assassinated police officer's funeral in order to protest against our country in Germany, and I called him out on it. So it started from there, and I got a great many calls from police officers, wives, mothers, widows, and so on. And my husband and I and my two sons answered every one of them. But that evening also, newspapers called, and Channel 2 News called, and Nicole Malliotakis called,
Correct,
and Bo Dietl called. So I got a chance to understand politics at a very high level just last year. A race for mayor of New York City. It's the big time. So I got to see how it all worked, and I was getting angrier and more angry at the condition of our city, the corruptness in our city. And I got to I voice my opinion and be part of a movement to try to replace de Blasio. And through that enthusiasm, I was approached at the end of November and asked if I wanted to seek the seat of State Senate District 11 in Queens, my district where I was born and raised. And I gave it some thought. I'm married 44 years, talked it over with my husband, my two sons who are grown men, and they said, it's something you've always wanted to do, go for it. Our district is crumbling. It's falling apart under the leadership that we have here in New York, and we have in Albany. And when I said, let's just do it, and I did. And I went up against my primary opponent, won that primary in a landslide, because I let this people speak.
Correct. The
people spoke.
Right.
And that's who I'm all about. The people of my district. I understand the needs. I understand what's happening. I owned a business. I raised my family there. I grew up there. And I just know everything there is to know about District 11. So I I bought a house, I pay a mortgage, property tax, like I said, owned a business, so I'm in pretty good shape.
Definitely. So talking about being in pretty good shape now, remember that this is for all the residents of District 11. For those of you who are going out to vote, this is a very crucial election because for those of you who wish to maintain a good shape, voting for Vickie Paladino will ensure that, because her opponent on the Democratic end, now not saying anything against the party, but we all know about her opponent, former city controller John Liu. We've elected him once before as a city controller. He claimed a lot about transparency. Absolutely, there's no transparency whatsoever. Was involved in multiple corruptions. Now you have to ask yourselves, as residents of a district, is this a person you want to have representing you as a senator? That we will come to. We'll actually evaluate her agenda versus his agenda. Now there's several things actually that you've mentioned on your website, Vickie Paladino, and also when we think about it, New York City, right now we're in a crumbling state right now where the taxes are high. There's utility bills extremely high. So much of everywhere any bridges connecting Queens or any of the boroughs to Manhattan, the price of toll has actually increased. Property taxes have increased or whatnot. So if elected as this district senator, what are your plans to basically bring down taxes or make it more affordable and ensure basically that those in the district maintain that good shape that you've been fortunate to maintain?
Well, it's been very difficult for me to maintain.
Without a doubt. Exactly. All of us, yes.
It's we've become a district that was once affordable and now is no longer affordable. What are my plans? My plans are to find out where all the bulk is, where the pork is. We need to find out where the wasteful spending is going. A lot of the wasteful spending is going to illegal immigration and illegal immigrants.
Right.
Everybody who gets everything for free.
Right, exactly.
We work our tails off to maintain our way of life, which is getting harder and harder to do. While people come here, and the first thing they do when they get off the plane is they go to the welfare office.
That's
okay?
A given. Yep.
So let's think about where there's something like $9.5 billion right now being spent, and I'm just giving you like a tip of it, being spent towards illegal immigration and giving things, free housing, free education, free phones. Just let's look at that. Just simply look at that. You start to cut that sort of there, and you should come up with some sort of answers right then and there about. Now you think about your property taxes. Your property taxes go up whenever the mayor feels like somebody else needs something, some special interest needs to be paid attention to. He's making his money off of the backs of us, as is Cuomo.
Right.
Okay? Everything starts in Albany. It trickles down to the city. We only have 3 Republican city councilmen. And then from the city, it goes to local elections. What everybody has to understand is this is a local election. Local politics, please do not, anybody, take this local election for granted.
Correct.
This can change the face of our district for generations. This election is so important because it will affect not only us, but our children and our grandchildren. We only hold the Senate by 1 Senate seat. And we're practically tied because of Zimka Felda, who is an IDC. He's the only guy who stayed IDC.
Correct.
Okay? So the whole face of our state can change if we become a one-party state. Now, for people who are from other countries, who understand communism and socialism, they know what it's like to be dominated by a one-party system. That's what New York State is facing, a one-party system. So anything they want, whether it be the overdevelopment, the overtaxation, the overregulation, injection sites, the breakup of Rikers Island, doing away with the SHSAT exams, all of that will be rubber stamped through because there will be no majority anywhere. I am running for this seat because I know how important this seat is. And I am for the people. This is all about the people. I'm going to be 64 years old. I don't have to be doing this now. I'm doing this now because it's something I was always meant to do. It's my time to do it. The people need me, and I will be their voice. I will carry the needs to Albany with me.
That is more of a reason why John Liu is not the choice to be your senator, because he's all in favor of left-wing socialists, and he said it time after time again. But you spoke about this election being very important for people of today and future generations, and when I think about it, future generations under the left-wing socialists will not really understand the value.
They'll never know freedom.
Exactly, freedom or basically the value of quality education.
That's
one of the
correct.
things that you highlight on your website,
yes.
SHSAT. The thing about it is that Mayor de Blasio earlier this year spoke about equality for all, that they should do away or make standardized testing less, make it so difficult. Everyone should basically be able to go to all the high schools, Ivy League high schools like Stuyvesant. I remember that as a child from Indo-Caribbean background, that I took that standardized test. Many other people from Vietnamese homes, Chinese homes, they all took that examinations and qualified, moved forward. So standardized an SHSAT, why does the mayor want to do away with it if it ensures quality education for the future?
Well, this mayor doesn't believe in any sort of hard work being rewarded.
Correct.
No, hard work is not rewarded. Everybody, he wants to put them on some sort of level playing field. It's the same reason why he really doesn't like us in suburbia. He wants everything to be like up in the Bronx, or, you can't, everything is not, can't be rubber stamped through or be a footprint. Every community is different.
Right.
Every needs are different. But to get back to the SHSAT exams, this is probably the fairest way. This is a merit-based test.
Right.
There are programs in place through every school in all these boroughs where children can be tutored after school for free. There are programs set up where children can go so that they can do better on the test. Now, if they don't take advantage of what's available to them, and they choose to do extracurricular activities that don't include studying, why are we going to demoralize or criminalize, for lack of a better word, those who did choose to study and work hard? This is not a race-based test. This is a merit-based test. Yeah. You make the grade, you make the school. Now, back in the day when my kids went to school, there were only 3. It was Stuyvesant, Bronx Science, and Brooklyn Tech. Those were the 3 schools. Now there's 7 or 8, which has already broadened the scope of the amount of kids that can qualify to go to these schools. You keep that SAT test. You keep everything the way it is. It's been going on for 100 years.
And it's working.
It's not broke. Don't fix it.
Exactly.
Leave it alone.
So your opponent, John Liu, as I said, he ran against Mayor de Blasio on the housing situation, the housing crisis in 2013, when they contended individually to run for mayor. And of course, Mayor Bill de Blasio emerged victorious. But we found that under his first term, homelessness has increased an insurmountable amount of people. We went from 60,000 to 67,000 people, and it's all over New York City. I mean, a city with 8 million people, 67,000 people is way too much. So being a senator, if you're elected as the senator for District 11, what can we do to combat it? Because I feel that this is an issue that has occurred even before the days of Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Oh, homelessness has been around a long time for different reasons. Homelessness at one time were people who just opted out of life. They wanted to be left alone. Then you had the Vietnam War.
Correct.
You have a lot of mentally challenged now veterans.
Right.
You have homeless families. You have fragmented families, grandparents raising children. You've got mentally ill. We have a very well-known state hospital in Belrose or Glen Oaks. It's called Creedmoor.
Right.
That's a 20,000 bed facility. Do you know how many beds are occupied there? 1,000 beds. De Blasio, what are you doing? What are you doing? You have released mentally ill patients onto our streets. Now, if you live in the Belrose and Glen Oaks area, you are having people defecating on the street, throwing rocks through windows. Crime has grown. The face of those three towns, Floral Park has changed. They've taken motels and hotels. De Blasio's budget is $2.1 billion for homeless. There's no cures in sight. There's no remedies. There's no setups for the drug addiction. There's no setup for the mentally ill. There's no cures. He just keeps pouring money down into a rabbit hole going nowhere. I want to know where that $2.1 billion is going. I want transparency. I will demand transparency. We have got a budget that New York State is out of control. Who's getting paid off? The breakup of Rikers Island, waterfront property, putting 2 prisons on every borough but Staten Island? And answer me this. How did the population of Rikers Island, when Bernie Kerik was warden, go from 22,000 down to 9,000? How did that happen? Did crime stop? No. What did he do? He shackled our police officers. Okay? Our cops can't do their job. That's what's going on in New York City. They turn their back to pot smoking. They turn their back to the homeless. They have to, because it's not worth the report.
Exactly. And in fact, a lot of people have said that, well, now they can take advantage of texting and driving because the police are not doing anything. They're not responsive or reactive to it. So those are so many other things. And when I think about the situation with NYPD, it's rather sad. And especially when we remember people such as Officer Brian Moore, such as Officer Randolph Holder,
right,
simply doing their jobs, but because of being under this mayor's leadership, they were refrained from going to their holster to just pull out their gun to defend themselves.
No.
And they became casualties as well.
That is correct.
We're talking about community safety. How can we make not only District 11, but other districts safe as well? It starts with District 11. We're hoping that
we
all the other
got to talk
districts...
to our city councilman.
Let's hear it. Yeah.
We got to talk to our city councilman. We have to get in order. We got to get our house in order.
Correct.
And the only way we're going to do that is by present bills and find out what's going on. As a state legislator, I will be up there to see what comes out and see what the bills are and go over everything step by step by step. I'm not a politician. So I cannot sit here and quote you bill numbers.
Right.
And don't anybody expect me to do that. Okay, but I will tell you this. I will learn. I will have very smart people surrounding me. And I will know right and I will know wrong.
Right.
And I promise you this, that I will be a voice in Albany for my district, for my city, and for my statesmen.
Definitely.
And I will be a voice to be reckoned with. I will not sit quiet.
We're talking about your opponent, John Liu. Now, like I said, I've mentioned it twice before, so I'm not going to say it again, but your agenda versus John Liu's agenda. Now, where do you two differ? And of course, which one helps to preserve the quality of life? Let's go through a few things.
Okay. First of all, my opponent, John Liu, we know has been wrapped up in corruption. He's been wrapped up in corruption his entire political life.
Right.
He disappeared for 4 years. He's back again. Now, when he was back in 2012 and 2014, I don't know how many of the viewers out there know this, but he had a 26-year-old girl who was his treasurer, and the person who worked alongside her was straw money doning. She fudged the numbers for John Liu. She went away to federal prison rather than him stand up and take the rap and be a man for it. He now wears it as a badge of honor, as the most investigated politician in New York City history. See, this all goes with the progressive radical left. They take the wrong and make it right in their heads, and then they transpose that thought onto others. So they make people like me seem like, in their demented minds, that we are the ones that are the radicals, when indeed they are the lawbreakers, and they are the ones that get away with it. Now, John Lew today, I want everybody to know who his campaign manager is. Her name is Lisa Della Aguila. Who is she? She is the co-founder of the Rise and Resist movement. Who is the Rise and Resist movement? They are part of Antifa. Antifa?
Right,
okay, I don't know how many people in your audience will remember, but last summer we had a woman climb the Statue of Liberty.
I remember that.
Okay.
We reported on it.
There you go. Well, guess who her boss lady was? John Lew's campaign manager. Correct. Then she gave, the woman who did climb the Statue of Liberty, she gave the most outrageous press conference where she, I don't remember her exact words, but I will go close to it. And you could correct me, fix it, but I will tell you this. It came as close as Death to America as you could possibly. That was part of the insanity. You see, it's very in today to hate America and to hate our freedoms. And let me tell you something. If John Lew represents District 11, he will change the face not only by taking a majority vote in Albany, but he will change our district forever. He has taken his money from Red China. Fact. He has filtered and laundered his money through small businesses in Flushing. Fact. Now, he could fight me on this all he wants.
Correct.
And anybody who disagrees with me could go on Facebook and blast it all over, because that's what they'll do. I will be attacked, guaranteed, all over my Facebook page by those who believe like John Lew, and they will call me a liar. They will call me all the names they call Trump, because I tell the truth, and I'm beholden to nobody. I don't need a bill number.
Exactly.
Okay? I don't need to hear something as B834-2. Okay? Tell me what it is. Give it to me straight.
Right.
And let's discuss it. And I am willing to cross the aisle and work with the others across the aisle. I'm a reasonable person, so I don't want anybody to misunderstand this. I am a passionate person. I am a passionate person because I value our lifestyle. I value our district. I value hard work. I appreciate people who work hard. And I am, like I said, their voice. I will take this voice with me to Albany. I value each and every one of you. And everybody who follows me on Facebook who may be watching today, they know I have a heart of gold. And my door is always open to everybody.
I remember watching an old television program, All in the Family. I mean, back in
Oh,
the 70s.
sure. Oh, my
Love
goodness.
that show.
Yeah.
And I remember that the main character, actually, which was Archie Bunker, said, hey, it was a good day in New York City because the trains finally ran. These are things that have been affecting New York residents all across for so many years. But in District 11, whether it's, I believe, around 179th Street is kind of one of the first train stops for Queens and whatnot. So buses, if a person is to commute from District 11, anywhere in District 11 to 179, they would resort to a bus, which many people feel that the bus system is at an all-time low. It's really slow.
The MTA is a slush fund.
What can we do to make it better?
It's a slush fund. We got to find out where the money's going. It's always follow the money.
Exactly.
The common thread here throughout most of our discussion today, outside of the personality differences, is always about follow the money. And everybody's being overcharged. Everybody's being overtaxed. Where's the money going? The MTA is the biggest joke ever. I think it's like $16 billion a year for that. Where is that going? And yet people are struggling on trains and buses. They don't run promptly. They don't run, they run empty. How many times do you see buses go by that say not in service?
Absolutely.
And people are waiting on bus stops. We need to know what's going on. We need to understand what's going on. That's my job. My job is to find out. And that's part of the reason people are going to have a little issue with Vickie Paladino, because Vickie Paladino won't stop when they say stop. Vickie Paladino will continue on until Vickie gets the answers. And the answers ultimately will lead to great joy for the people that I represent.
We are coming down to the end of our discussion. I would like to give you the final word if there's anything else you want to say and any final appeal.
Yes. My final appeal is this. Understand that your vote is extremely important. Your vote is your power. We watched de Blasio get reelected. There's 9 million people living in this city. Only 880,000 came out. My District 11, you want me to be your senator? You must get out and vote. It's all we have. That's it. November 6th. Polls open at 6 a.m. They close at 9 p.m. Call my number. If it's raining out, somebody will pick you up. If it's snowing out, you will get a ride to and from the polls. We are lined up. We are ready. Let's move. Call the phone number. We will take you from home to there and back home again. Know that our availability is there. But the power rests in you, the people. You control what happens to your district. You put me in office. I will not disappoint you. November 6th, Vickie Paladino, Senate District 11, Queens.
She just echoed a sentiment that I always close up with my show. It's all about you, the people. It always have been, and it always will be about you, the people. On behalf of myself and everyone affiliated with my show, I want to say that because I've known her opponent, I've known what he's about, and of course, all of you as well. It's no secret. So I personally am endorsing Vickie Paladino for Senator of District 11. I look forward to the day in which I will say, Madam Senator, I wish you all the very best.
So very, very much.
Thank you so much. It was a great conversation speaking about the issues, and looking forward to having a second discussion coming up very soon.
Me too.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All the very best. Remember, friends, for those of you, if you have any questions, any concerns for Mrs. Paladino, feel free to ask your questions on the video feed that we'll provide on our social media page as well as YouTube. And you can also send me an email to imran@itvgold.com. Our time with you is officially up. We've enjoyed being in your company. We do hope you've enjoyed ours as well. And final reminder, do be sure to go on out and vote. Cast your vote for Vickie Paladino. It's a time for choosing. Let your choice be Vickie Paladino for Senate. Thank you so much.